Hey guys. So the new league year started yesterday, and free agency has gone off with a bang. And I will admit, I wasn't sure how I felt about the Patriots free agency, but so far, everybody that they signed in free agency last year has signed with another team. Like other players that they didn't sign to long-term deals have signed with other teams except for Stephon Diggs. There is a rumor floating around that he might be back. I don't know. We will see. I wouldn't be mad at it, but we have signed so far. I have my list. We have Romeo Doubs, wide receiver, Elijah Vera Tucker, Draymond Jones, Kevin Byard, KJ Britt, Julian Hill, Mike Brown, Reggie Gillum. And so when I first uh, was looking at that list, I was like, oh, there's no big name signings. It's not like they went out and got Max Crosby for 2 first round picks, which that whole thing was just wild. And then the Ravens backing out of that and signing Trey Hendrickson like immediately after that, and then being like, oh, we were going to try and sign both of them. Yeah, sure, you were going to take on 2 massive contracts, give away 2 first round picks, and you were going to be just fine with that. Sure thing. And then saying that Max Crosby didn't pass the physical because his long-term knee health was in question. Like, it was a torn meniscus. It wasn't an ACL. It wasn't an Achilles. It was a meniscus. So just give me a break. We all know you had buyer's remorse because you've never given up a first-round pick ever. And they have backed out of these types of trades apparently multiple times over 30 years. So this is just a Ravens thing. So I don't know, but I thought that was A, kind of hilarious, B, like just a little wild because you got to be like, if you're Max Crosby, I would be pretty ticked off at my employer because clearly they didn't want me. And now I'm back. So what's going to happen with him moving forward? He's not going to go for 2 first round picks ever again. So they kind of screwed themselves in doing that with the Raiders. I'm sorry, with the Ravens. But I don't know. Will he end up on the Patriots? Because, apparently it's where everyone's shipping him. So we'll see. But when it was like they didn't trade for AJ Brown, they let Stephon Diggs go. They were picking up some like players. I'm like, oh, there's no splashy signings, blah 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 blah. And then I saw this today, and it just kind of put their free agency into perspective so far. And they were like, Patriots offseason so far signed a first team All Pro safety, signed the most talented offensive lineman, which if Elijah Vera Tucker can stay healthy, he's going to be like what Milton Williams was last year, where it was like, I don't know if he can do what Milton Williams hasn't done in his career to the point before last year, what he did with the Patriots last year. And then signed a top 5 available wide receiver. And so when I heard that they signed Romeo Doubs, I was like, oh, why? We had Stephon Diggs. You got rid of Stephon Diggs. You didn't get a number 1. What is a number 1 receiver? Is that for fantasy football or is that actually a thing? I don't know. Signed a top 10 available edge rusher, which edge rusher was in need, and signed the best available fullback. And the thing I love about the fullback signing is that Buffalo is melting down. Fans and teammates alike are melting down that he left Buffalo and came to New England. I'm low-key excited for that one because when they put him in fullback situations, they were getting like 8 and 9 yards, which clearly we needed help with last year. He was also on special teams, and they had one of the best special teams groups in the league last year. So not doing too shabby. Maybe not big splashy signings like we wanted, but I heard somebody say Tuesday You don't build your roster through free agency, you build your roster through the draft and you plug holes in free agency. And so, like, with the draft this year, obviously edge rusher is the name of the game, and it's a deep and talented edge rusher class that makes you wonder if that hurts Max Crosby's trade value moving forward, because after what the Ravens did, no one's going to offer up 2 first round picks, and with such a deep edge rushing class, like, why would you give up 2 first round picks for a 28-year-old player? Which is crazy to me, because as an almost 40-year-old woman, I'm like, these guys aren't that old, and they're like talking about how they're on the back end of their playing careers, and it's just bananas to me, bananas, because I might be almost 40, but I feel like I'm 21. And these are like pro athletes. So I have been hearing rumors that they still believe AJ Brown is going to end up in New England, and that it's going to be a deal that gets done over the summer, because trading him now would not be in Philly's best interest. They would take a $40 million cap hit if they traded him before June. So if they're going to trade him before June and accrue that $40 million cap hit, then they're going to want 2 first round picks. And again, an aging receiver, not worth that, even if it's AJ Brown. But he's not quite maybe as talented as he was when he was younger, because wear and tear and age and speed and defenses getting younger and blah, blah, blah. But there is a ton of belief that he is going to end up in New England, and it will come in June. And there is rumors that there's already a deal in place, but again, not until June, when they can break up his $40 million cap hit into 2 years, because that's guaranteed money. And they can do 20 million this year, 20 million next year, as opposed to 40 million all at one time. So will we see AJ Brown on the New England Patriots in the summer? I don't know. I'm not going to hold my breath. Would it be cool? Yeah. But again, everybody thought Max Crosby was going to the Raiders, so you just never know what's going to happen. But they were interviewing our VP of player personnel, Elliot Wolf, today, and he was saying how he wouldn't rule a Stephon Diggs reunion out. That, and what I don't understand is that if you think he was such a phenomenal player, why did you cut him? Because sure, he was going to make 26 million this year, but only 20 million was going to count towards the cap. I kind of think he was worth it. I don't know what they're doing with wide receiver, but they cut him. They didn't have a plan. It sounded like they wanted Alec Pierce. It sounded like they went for Alec Pierce, but Alec Pierce signed a stupid, massive deal in Indianapolis, where he's not even the best receiver on their team. He's like their 3rd best offensive player. He doesn't get a ton of looks or production, but he can make big money to stay at home. Why wouldn't you do that? I mean, Daniel Jones is his quarterback, and Daniel Jones just signed like a $200 million deal or some ridiculous like that for 2 years. Like, wild that people think Daniel Jones is this elite quarterback. But I will say that if Elijah Vera Tucker ends up panning out with his health, he'll probably be our best free agent signing this season. And who knows? Because he came from the Jets. The Jets aren't a organization that manages things well. So he never really stayed healthy with the Jets. But to be fair, Morgan Moses couldn't stay on the field or stay healthy. And then he came to the Patriots and he played a 21 game season for the first time in his career. So the Patriots strength and conditioning staff is one of the best in the league. And they just built a new training facility, locker room. They have all new technology and all this stuff that can do so well in helping football players. So when you get a player like Elijah Vera Tucker into a much better system and a much more professionally run system, is he going to stay consistently healthy? They're moving Jared Wilson. They did trade Garrett Bradbury to the Bears, and so they are moving Jared Wilson from left guard to center, which is his natural position. That is his body type, his athleticism, his agility, all of that is a center player. And so why they had him at left guard, I don't know. Also, Elijah Vera Tucker moved all over the line for the Jets, but he's going to be the left guard. So I think it's just going to end up being a really, fingers crossed, he stays healthy. It's going to be a really great pickup. And our offensive line got better again on paper. And if Will Campbell gets stronger, gets better technique, and has a veteran next to him, like, because when he played with Ben Brown next to him, and they have Ben Brown as Elijah Vera Tucker's backup, and Ben Brown, when Will Campbell and Ben Brown were next to each other when Jared Wilson was out, that was a phenomenal pairing, and a lot of people questioned why they didn't continue with that moving forward. And I get that they wanted to like instill confidence in rookies and blah 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 blah. But we might have won the Super Bowl because our quarterback would have been protected. And I would have kind of preferred that, especially like, hey, Jared, you're gonna play center come the new league year. But I'm excited to see where we go with this. I'm excited to see what else the Patriots do. We have 11 draft picks. There's no way they're going to draft 11 guys because we don't need that. So I wonder if they're going to pack some picks together to move up in a draft. They were meeting with an edge rusher today out of, I can't remember where. It's like Mizzou or something like that, Kalamazoo, I don't know. He sounded pretty gnarly, and I liked what I read about him. And they were saying he's a guy that can get after the ball carrier, whether it's a wide receiver, a running back, or the quarterback. And frankly, we need that. So we did lose Kairos Tonga. We did lose Caleb Von Chasen. We lost Jalen Hawkins. So we did lose pretty much everybody that we signed to one-year deals last year. So I find that to be interesting, but they also did, it's like they swapped guys for the linebacker that they picked up from the Ravens that they signed to a 3-year deal, whose name eludes me right now, but they're saying that he's like a slightly more talented swap to Caleb Von Chasen. So we'll see what happens. Elliot Wolf, I don't know if I said this, but Elliot Wolf did say today that he doesn't rule out bringing Stephon Diggs back. I think that's where I went off on my tangent. Like, if you appreciated his talent and you think he's going to have an incredible year coming up, why didn't you just keep him? I don't think it was a contract issue, and maybe it was. I don't know. But we're a couple days into a new league year, and Stephon Diggs is still unsigned. And Elliot Wolf did say he doesn't rule out a reunion. So could you imagine they sign Romeo Doubs, they bring back Stephon Diggs, and they trade for A.J. Brown? That would be a really interesting wide receiver room, a really interesting dynamic with Stephon Diggs and A.J. Brown, because the both of them can be a little bit of a diva. And the way that A.J. Brown has carried himself these past couple years and not being happy in Philadelphia will be interesting. And also, if I'm the Eagles and I have a player who has made it abundantly clear that he doesn't want to be here, I don't know why I'd want to hold on to him particularly, even if he is super talented, but he also, like, kind of, I don't know if it's a Jalen Hurts thing. I don't know, because there is a lot of talk that they don't like the players don't like Jalen Hurts in the locker room. I don't know what it is, but Max Crosby didn't go to Baltimore, and he has made comments about wanting to play for Mike Vrabel. Are we going to get a Max Crosby in a couple of years when his deal is up? Will they trade for him? I don't know. Do they need to trade for him? Not really. As much as I would like to have the Max Crosby of like 2 years ago, I just, with the way that this edge rush class is, I don't know. And they're also saying that next year's draft class is going to be like historic for wide receiver talent. So at the same time, if I'm thinking about that and you build your team through the draft, but you plug holes through free agency, why would I potentially want to give up a first round pick for AJ Brown, knowing that next year's draft, wide receiver draft, is going to be historic? I don't know. You could make the argument that the Patriots don't draft wide receivers. They have never been able to hit on a wide receiver, but that was also Bill Belichick. And Mike Vrabel is a different coach, a different person. Mike Vrabel drafted A.J. Brown and Derrick Henry in Tennessee, and part of the things that went wrong in Tennessee was the front office making some really head-scratching moves. It's like they wanted Mike Vrabel to fail or something. But a good start to free agency. We plugged holes. I'm excited to see what Romeo Doubs can do with Drake May. And he's never hit 1,000 yards because he hasn't played a complete season, but he's also like, he was on a team with a lot of pretty good receivers. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. The tight end that they signed from Miami, Julian Hill, they were saying that he's a great blocking tight end. And are they going to get a tight end in the draft? Apparently, there's a Notre Dame tight end that's up for the draft this year that could be a really great fit in New England. So we'll see. I still want JCC. Oh, yeah. If they draft JCC, re-sign Stephon Diggs, trade for AJ Brown. I was going to say Antonio Brown. We don't want Antonio Brown. AJ Brown, and then have their Romeo Doubs. We could actually go from having no wide receiver core to having a pretty monster wide receiver core. We still have Mac Hollins. We still have Pop Douglas. We still have Efton Chisholm III, and we still have Kayshon Boutte for now. Will Pop Douglas be on the team after training camp? I don't know. He's on the final year of his rookie deal. We also have Christian Gonzalez that you can start the contract negotiation as he's heading into his fourth year. And I'm honestly, as much as I would love to keep Christian Gonzalez, I don't know how the Patriots view him. So I don't know if they want to give him the otherworldly contract that he is going to demand. I think they should, but I don't know. I don't know if they're going to or not. But without Christian Gonzalez in the Super Bowl, we would have gotten blown out. Christian Gonzalez single-handedly kept us close enough to overtake the Seahawks. We just couldn't get it together on offense. And that's another nitpick I have. I would love to interview Josh McDaniels and be like, why didn't you make any adjustments? Any whatsoever? Like the entire playoffs. Why did you refuse to make an adjustment? I really need to know these things. Because you caused me some pain, bro. And this is going to be an interesting season. I think we, on paper, got better. We'll see how that translates with health, with players, with chemistry, all of that. But I like what we've done so far in free agency. I wasn't sure I felt about it, but I like it. And right now we have a pretty nasty secondary. And if they live up to the hype, they better re-sign Christian Gonzalez is all I'm saying. And then you got Drake May coming up for a contract negotiation, and he's going to be an elite quarterback throughout his career in the NFL. So go bring in the weapons and don't bring weapons that complement Drake May. Don't try to force him into this dink and dunk Tom Brady offense where we shifty little white slot receivers that are 5'2". Drake May is the most accurate deep passer in the NFL. Get guys that can spread the field, take the top off the defense, get him what he needs to be that elite player we know he can be. They really need to come to me for advice because I would really whip them into shape. And that would get us back into the Super Bowl. And I would probably help us win because I know how to make adjustments. Josh McDaniels. So the draft is coming up. Will we see A.J. Brown on the Patriots in the summer? That's what everybody keeps saying it. So only exciting things ahead, and I can't wait to see where we go from here. I would kind of like to fast forward, though, so I know how to feel, because I don't like this pendulum of emotions that one day I'm excited, the next day I'm super bummed. I just want a good offense. We keep making plays and making good pickups on defense, and now do the offense, bro. Do the offense. So we'll see what we do in the draft. And let's go Pats.